the Garmin Tread Overland Edition and the Garmin Overlander. What's the difference? Well, apart from the pretty obvious couple of things that you can see immediately, they're actually quite similar. What we're going to be doing today is taking a look at the everyday use of both of these particular devices and checking out how they're similar, but also how they're different. For what you're going to be using them for the most part, which is just general navigation around the city and also a little bit of off-road navigation, they'll actually perform quite similarly. But what we really want to focus on is the different ways in how they actually execute what you need them to do. So let's get four wheels on the road and check it out. The comparison between these two units is going to be quite a complicated one, and even though we're just doing a bit of an introduction today in some general day-to-day differences between the two devices, there will be two different editions of this video, so tune in next week for that. So to start things off today in our comparison between the two units, to begin with, first of all you can see the 1.5-inch ball as opposed to a smaller one that used to be on the Overlander, to look after the extra weight that the Tread actually has compared to the Overlander. Now the other thing that I haven't mentioned for a very particular reason is this particular part of the unit here. Two very important things here. One, you'll notice a very similar thing to which the Overlander had was the magnetic attachment, but what you do actually now have is that lock-in, and that's not going anywhere. So that's quite a handy thing to have now on the device. Next up, Tread Overland Edition is a little bit larger of a screen than the Garmin Overlander. This is the 8-inch edition that we're working with here compared to the Garmin Overlander. Comparing the two screens is a little bit unfair, to be honest. However, what I can directly compare is the screen brightness and just the screen in general. So looking here on the Garmin Tread Overland Edition, this now is a 1000 nit screen. So you can see there's a difference in brightness. It's up to you completely as to which screen you prefer. Personally for me, I do like the Tread Overland now. I've become used to it. Having that 1000 nit display that can be a little bit brighter than the Overlander is definitely a winner for me. Next up, I guess it's good to just start at the beginning in terms of general use and generally what you'd be using the unit for. So view, map and drive comparatively on the Overlander. Basically we're looking at a very similar screen here. You can however see a little bit of a difference, as I mentioned initially, display wise with the Tread Overland. Also you'll notice just as a standard view you've got 4 fields sitting at the bottom of your screen compared to the 2 you've got on the Overlander, so slight difference there. Another one of the things you'll also notice is that you have the map icon here which sits at the top of the Overlander screen. I've done a bit of review on this previously. What you can do is take a look at the Explore view from here. I won't have a look at that right now because that's not what we're looking at, but if you wanted to take a look at a more in-depth view of the Garmin Overlander, I'll put a link in the top right hand side of your screen for you. So what we're going to do now is just take a really quick look at doing a simple navigation. So what I'll do is just press and hold on the screen up here and create a waypoint on both of the units for similar places. So a point of difference between the two here, initially you may not recognize, is that on the Tread Overland Edition, I've got the icon here, and what that does there is it opens me up on the route creation screen. But on the Overlander, all you have is an option to just simply go and start a simple navigation. So that's a pretty big point of difference immediately between the two units, is that you don't have Explore and route creation available through just the plain map view on the Overlander. So what you would need to do to create a new route on the Overlander is go to the Explore view and simply hit on the plus sign there. Over on the side here you can add a waypoint or add a route, and you're in a similar view to what you have over here on the Tread Overland Edition. The difference between the two is, however, let's say I've created a couple of points here. What I do then is navigate, and what it'll do is it sends me back to the map screen. What I would do here is if I wanted to add a waypoint and then a waypoint, it's just telling me if I want to add more stops I can. But what you would get in terms of the Overland edition is you can navigate on a route directly from the map view, whereas it's a little bit different here. You've got to go out externally to Explore View, and then Explore View takes you back to the map view to navigate on a route on the Overlander. So it's a little bit of a point of difference there between the two. If I go to my Explore data here, I'll see all of my Explore data and tracks. And I'll go to the Explore app if I am in the Overlander. Another thing you'll notice here between the two, what I've done is I've just checked and selected if I have any open apps, and what Garmin Explore does is it opens up as a separate, and it's classified as an app on the Overlander. So it's opened up separately right now. It's classified as an app, so it's using memory right now. But on the Tread edition, it's part of the view map. The other way that you can actually go to a map view on the Tread Overland edition is to select Route Planner here, and you can create a route or load your previous routes directly from there. But with saved routes here on the Garmin Overlander, it's a little bit of a different story. You have a different tab that's on the bottom, and you need to select library, and you can create a route or load your previous routes directly from there. So it's a little bit more convoluted and a little bit more finicky on the Overlander compared to the Tread Overland edition. So if I created a route here on the Tread Overlander, I'm back on the screen where I was previously. So it's not as confusing and nowhere near as finicky, I guess would be what I would call it. Another thing that I'll compare between the two is looking at different map layers that are turned on. So I've selected the icon on the side of the screen there. Now you'll see here on the Overlander, there's a whole host of different layers that I can have added on, but they're little check boxes. So slightly different than what you've got here on the Tread. One thing I will mention, however, though, is that Bird's Eye Direct is actually what is classified as the Explore data from here. So this map view that's on the Overlander is now incorporated into the Tread. So what I mean by that is, if I go into apps here and go under Bird's Eye Direct, which is what it's now called, loading all of this information here, you would have heard previously on a video that I mentioned that I've downloaded all of these views. Now all of these views here actually sit natively on my map view. So that gives me terrain and a detailed view of the map data that I need there. And that's under Bird's Eye Direct. And you'll see here back on the main map screen, Bird's Eye. So I can have Bird's Eye Direct on the main map view, but here on the Overlander I've got to have it as a separate view. Alright, well that's going to be it for us this week. Next week we'll take a look at more of the differences between the Garmin Tread Overland Edition and the Garmin Overlander. We'll see you then.